You know what really grabs your attention? For a lot of people, myself included, it's the world of Street Outlaws.
Oh, yeah, that raw energy.
Right. Since 2013, it's pulled us into this supposedly underground street racing scene. Oklahoma City, the 405, that whole quest for the list.
It really blew up, didn't it? Became this huge cultural thing, spawned all those spin-offs.
Exactly. But the big question, the one probably rattling around in your head if you watch it is, how real is Street Outlaws? Is it genuine or is it more manufactured?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. And that's what we're diving into today.
Yeah.
Our goal here is to give you a really solid understanding, get you the info quickly and thoroughly.
And we're looking at an article that dug into this, right? Went behind the scenes.
We are. An article that really tries to unpack that balance or maybe that tension between the authentic street culture and, well, making television.
So we'll be looking at the roots, the cast, the actual racing.
And where those lines between reality and TV start to get really, really blurry.
Okay, so first off, it's crucial to understand Street Outlaws didn't just spring out of nowhere. It tapped into something real.
Underground street racing.
Yeah, a subculture that's been around for, decades across the U.S., often illegal, definitely dangerous.
And Oklahoma City specifically has this, long history with it.
It does. A very tight-knit community, lots of serious car people.
So
So the show's creators, Pilgrim Media Group, they were smart. They didn't invent a scene.
they found one.
They tapped into the existing scene, focused on racers who were already, known figures in OKC.
People like Big Chief,
Mm-hmm.
Justin Shearer,
Mm-hmm.
and Sean Ellington, Murder Nova.
Right. And Doc, James Love. These guys weren't actors. They were actual street racers with reputations. That gave the show instant credibility.
Absolutely. You felt like you were getting a peek behind a curtain. But,
Mm.
and this is the big but,
Mm-hmm.
you can't really film actual, illegal, unpredictable street racing for a TV show, can you? Not safely, not legally.
No way. Impossible. So right there, you need control. You need a controlled environment for filming.
And that's where things start to shift. That's where the line starts blurring almost immediately.
Which brings us to the cast themselves. One of the strongest arguments for the show being real is that these folks were genuine car nuts and racers beforehand.
Yeah, like you said, Big Chief, Sean Ellington,
Hmm?
their rivalry was apparently a thing long before the cameras rolled.
Exactly. That history adds a layer of authenticity you probably can't just fake.
But then they become TV personalities. They know the cameras are there. There's got to be some element of performance, right?
Inevitably. You're aware you need to be interesting, engaging for the audience. Our source article mentions this, how rivalries might get, let's say, amplified for drama.
Like the Big Chief and Sean feud.
Yeah.
Fans talk about that a lot, whether parts of it were played up.
Right. And apparently some cast members have even sort of admitted it in interviews. They said, the rivalries are real at their core. But yeah, the show encourages them to lean into their personalities, make it bigger for TV.
Makes sense from an entertainment perspective.
It does. It's kind of standard practice for reality TV, isn't it? Dialing things up.
Then there's the whole fame aspect. These guys went from being relatively unknown racers to, well, famous. Sponsorships, appearances.
A whole different ballgame.
And the article raises a good point. Does that change things? Can they still authentically represent that sort of gritty, underground world when they're public figures with endorsements?
It's a valid question. Does the money and fame shift their connection to the original scene? It definitely makes you wonder about the portrayal over time.
Okay, let's talk about the main event. The racing. That's the core of the show, right? These high-stakes races, powerful cars, cash on the line.
Absolutely. And the article we looked at makes it clear the cars are legit. These are seriously high-performance machines.
Built by the racers themselves, often. That dedication to the engineering, the tuning, that feels very real. You can see the passion there.
Oh, totally. The technical detail, the engine builds, chassis setups, that speaks to genuine expertise and love for the craft. That resonates with people who know cars.
But again, we hit that reality versus TV wall. The races aren't happening on random public streets anymore, are they?
No. For safety, for legal reasons, it's all filmed on closed roads or private property, permits involved.
Which is a huge departure from true, outlaw street racing.
It is. But here's a critical point the article emphasizes, and cast members like Big Chief have confirmed this publicly. The race outcomes are not fixed.
Okay, that's important. So who wins, wins.
That seems to be the case. The competition itself is presented as genuine, and apparently the racers often put up their own cash for the prizes.
So the head-to-head is real, but the article talks about scripted elements around the racing.
Right. This is where production steps in more noticeably. For instance, producers might influence who races who.
Ah, setting up matchups based on storylines, rivalries, past losses, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Matchups that create drama, even if they wouldn't necessarily happen organically that week. So the starting line might be arranged, even if the finish line isn't.
Gotcha. And what about, like, the track conditions, the
Yeah.
rules?
Production controls a lot of that too. Track prep, race distance, even things like the flashlight start. It's standardized for consistency, for fairness maybe, but also for filming.
It removes some of the unpredictable chaos of the real street.
Definitely. And then you layer on the editing.
Oh, yeah. The slow-mo, the dramatic music, the voiceovers.
All designed to heighten the tension, make races seem closer, make the stakes feel enormous. It shapes your perception of the event, even if it doesn't change the winner.
And central to all of this is the list, that ranking of the top 10 racers in the 405.
Mm-hmm. The article explains this concept actually does have roots in real street racing traditions, establishing hierarchies, bragging rights.
So the idea itself is authentic.
The core idea, yes, but its portrayal on the show, heavily produced.
How so?
Well, the production team often influences who gets to challenge for a spot when those challenges happen. They can manipulate the list order to build specific storylines.
Like setting up a big showdown for a season finale. Or resolving some personal beef through a race they arrange.
Precisely. The list becomes a narrative engine for the show, maybe even more than it's a pure reflection of the current racing hierarchy. It drives the plot forward.
It really highlights the challenges, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Trying to make a reality show about something that's fundamentally illegal?
The logistics must be incredible, and the article touches on this, is that the legal and safety hurdles alone are huge.
Filming on private land, getting permits, having safety crews on standby.
Yeah, all necessary. But it's the complete opposite of how actual illegal street racing operates, which is, clandestine, under the radar.
So that controlled environment, while you need it for TV, kind of chips away at that outlaw image they project.
It has to. The article mentions things like scouting locations in advance, coordinating with local authorities sometimes. It's a very organized operation.
The antithesis of spontaneous street racing.
And the producers are right in the thick of it, guiding things. Our source suggests they work closely with the cast to develop storylines, plan out the race nights.
Not necessarily feeding them lines, but nudging things, encouraging confrontations maybe.
Amplifying existing tensions, perhaps. Playing up the competitive nature that's already there. They guide the overall narrative arc.
Plus all the logistics schedules, locations, budgets. The article even hints the production might sometimes supplement the prize money.
It points to that very complex relationship, capturing reality while actively constructing a television show.
And you have to think about how the show's success has changed everything for the people involved.
Absolutely. Fame brings opportunities, endorsements, money, but it also alters the whole dynamic.
The article talks about the shift towards maybe bigger budgets, sponsor-funded cars. Does it still feel like grassroots street racing when millions of dollars might be involved?
It raises questions about authenticity, doesn't it? Is it the same world once it becomes so commercialized and tied to TV personas?
And then you have the spin-offs, like No Prep Kings.
Which are often held on actual drag strips, much more organized.
Yeah, and some fans, especially longtime ones, see that as moving further away from the original street concept. More like professional drag racing, less like, well, Street Outlaws.
It feels like a different beast to them.
Which leads us right into how the fans see it all. Because opinions are really divided, aren't they?
Oh, definitely. The article captures the split quite well. You've got a large group who firmly believe in the show's reality.
What are their main arguments?
They point to the cast, real racers, real passion. The cars are real, the competition feels real, the risks are real. They see the dedication in the garages.
And maybe they meet the racers at events, car shows. That reinforces the connection.
Exactly. It feels authentic to them. But then you have the other side.
The skeptics.
Yeah, those who feel it's become too scripted, too controlled. They point to the closed roads, the potential for staged drama, the heavy editing.
They feel it's a sanitized version of what real underground racing is like.
Pretty much. And some are disappointed by that shift towards more organized formats, feeling like it's lost its original gritty edge, become too commercial.
It's that classic reality TV debate, amplified by the nature of the subject matter.
So, pulling it all together, where does that leave us? Is it real or scripted? The article really concludes it's, well,
a blend.
A hybrid. Exactly. You can't deny the genuine roots. Real street racing culture, real enthusiasts who were doing this before the show, incredibly real high-performance cars.
And, crucially, real competition where the outcome isn't predetermined.
Right. Those elements are authentic, but you also can't ignore the production layer.
The shaping of the narrative, the controlled environments, the potential for amplified rivalries, the slick editing, all there to make compelling TV.
So, while the winner of a race might be decided fair and square on the pavement,
The circumstances around that race, who's racing, where, when, how it's presented, are heavily influenced by the producers.
and that kind of blend, as the article points out, is pretty common in reality TV. It's
Yeah.
always this balancing act between showing reality and crafting entertainment.
So for you listening, try to get your head around this. Maybe the final thought is this. How much does that need to entertain inevitably change the reality being shown?
hmm Especially when you take something from the underground, something raw, and put it under the bright lights of television.
What gets lost in that process and maybe what gets gained? It's something worth thinking about, isn't it?
Definitely a lot to chew on there.
Well, thanks for digging into this with us, exploring the real versus the produced in Street Outlaws. It's clear it's not a simple answer.
No, it's a fascinating mix of genuine passion and television craft.
It really shows the challenges of bringing these hidden worlds to the screen. So keep thinking about it. What other shows make you ask these questions? How much does just having a camera there change things?
Good questions to keep asking.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive, looking at those interesting spots where reality and entertainment collide.